Welcome back to the Dean Obeidallah Show. Right now, very happy to welcome to the show Kaouther Ben Hania. She's Oscar-nominated director, and she's director and writer of a critically new, acclaimed film, The Voice of Hind Rajab. It's a true story from January 2024 of a 6-year-old girl in Gaza pleading for her life, trapped in a car with her relatives who had been killed by the Israeli military. And it's the trauma and drama of trying to get her out of that, which is the base of the film. Kaouther, nice to meet you. Congratulations on a remarkable film, and it deserves all the awards. And I hope you get an Oscar nomination as well for this.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you for having me.
Sure. So tell people, I saw how this story came to your attention because, this happened to remind people in January 2024. So it's about just 2 years ago. What got it to your attention? What made you think, like, I'm going to make a film about this?
A lot of things, when you hear the voice of Hind Rajab, and I heard it for the first time, it was on social media, you can't unhear it, at least for me. And I was very angry and very sad, and I had this strong emotion of I needed to do something, because when you hear child pleading for her life, it's not the normal thing, This is not a world where I want to live, at least. So when you ask yourself, what can I do? What can I do? I'm a filmmaker,
Mhm.
and I told myself maybe the social media is not the best place for the voice of this little girl, because social media means scrolling, forgetfulness, amnesia. And this girl needed to be not only remembered, but her voice should, and this, her voice should, oblige us to do something. So from there was born the need to tell this story, because at the same time, in the Western media, um, like Palestinian voices are silenced in a way, and they are often depicted, especially victim in Gaza, as numbers,
Mhm.
if we don't qualify them like a collateral damage, So I thought that this little girl had a strong voice, and her voice needed to be heard. So what is the perfect way to make, at the same time, a respectful and an impactful movie where people can stay in the dark, listen, and bear witness?
I saw that it was an interview that you talked about. You felt like she was speaking to you, Little Hind, and that's her name, Hind, Hind, Rajab. And in the movie, you hear her actual audio that you actually put in, which was remarkable, of the phone call to the paramedics to the Palestinian Red Crescent. But you felt on some level, I read that she was saying, "Save me," but to you, help me, to you, save me. Is that how you felt?
Yeah, it wasn't a rational thing, but our first human response to the child pleading for her life is, yeah, I want to save you. Where are you? But quickly, when I understood the situation, she was talking with the Red Crescent dispatcher. She
Mhm.
did whatever they could in their power, to send an ambulance. And at the end, their colleague were bombarded. Also,
If you could tell people, let's take a step back. So, we mentioned the Red Crescent, kind of jumped ahead. Tell people, if you could, the story itself, because they may have heard of Hind Rajab, they may have heard of a young girl in a car calling the Red Crescent, but what got her and their family into the car? And then what caused her then to have her family call the Red Crescent in the West Bank to try to save her in Gaza?
The lines of the emergency calls to call the Red Crescent in Gaza were bombarded early on. So when people needs an emergency, they are automatically transferred to the West Bank, to Ramallah. And that day, the Israeli army ordered the evacuation of Tel El Hawa neighborhood. So actually, Hind's mother, because it was raining, it was January, it was winter, she wanted to protect her daughter in a car, So she sent her to flee with her aunt and uncle and the four cousins. And the car on the way to flee was shot at by the Israeli army. And in the beginning, you had only two survivors, a girl called Layan, Hind's cousin. She was 15 years old, and Hind. So all the family tried around, because they had a
Mhm.
phone to send, an ambulance. And the Red Crescent in Ramallah received the call telling them, you need to call this number and you need to send an ambulance to this car. So when Omar, one of the Red Crescent dispatcher, called the number, you have Layan, 15 years old, answering him, and you have the fire of the gun killing this girl in the phone. This is recorded. So
Right.
then you had only only Hind, not even 6 year old, she was younger, on the phone with the Red Crescent, surrounded by, in this car, by the dead body of her family, trapped there, and you have all the tank around her. So she was speaking for hours with the Red Crescent, and they needed to send an ambulance. There was an ambulance 8 minutes away, but they can't send it because
Right.
the Israeli army can bomb this ambulance. So they needed to ask the Israeli army for a safe route so they can send an ambulance to this little girl. And this operation is so complicated because you have a lot of intermediary to talk to send an ambulance with a safe route given by the Israeli army. So when at the end they got the green light to send their ambulance to save the little girl, the ambulance meters away, and we can hear it actually in the recording. You have
Right.
Yusuf Zainu, one of the two paramedics sent to save Hind, and after you hear the bombing of his car, of the ambulance, and they got killed, both of them, Yusuf Zainu and Ahmed Madhoun.
And in the movie, you make a powerful point about all the other ambulance drivers who were killed. There's pictures of them on the wall, and the supervisor did not want more people killed like that, even though a lot of them, like in your case, as you depict, they got the approval by the Israeli military. Was there any understanding later why the Israeli military gave the approval to the ambulance and then up killing the drivers?
No, nothing. The Israeli army, they always, in the beginning, I don't know if they changed their position after, denied even being there, even confronted by the satellite image. And you have a great job of investigation done by the forensic architect, but done by the Washington Post, detailing which tank and which gun fired to this car and where the tank, and they denied the fact that they are here, and then they say they are investigating themselves.
And you did such a great job capturing drama because they're in the Palestinian Red Crescent, which is like the Red Cross, but Red Crescent in Ramallah in this small office setting. And it did remind me of Paul Greengrass's directing. I saw the other people mention the same thing, but I remember that. How were you able to capture in this small space? And was that part of the challenge for you? Because it goes so fast, the movie. It's painful, but it goes so fast because the way you depicted it.
I mean, I knew from the beginning that I needed to choose the right place to tell this story from.
Mhm.
And since the sound, the recording, the real recording, were about this little girl trapped in this car, I thought that the perfect place to be in is with those who listened. So the
Right.
Red Crescent people. So what I did actually is I talked a lot with the Red Crescent dispatcher, and through their testimony, I wrote what was happening around the phone calls with Hind. So they are for me real heroes. And as you said, we have Mahdi Al-Jamal, his name, the real
Mhm.
Mahdi. He he lost a lot of colleagues. I mean, the Red Crescent, they lost around till now around 55 four
Mhm.
paramedic sent in rescue mission and killed. So his job is to send ambulance. So
Right.
in this situation, his job is to send ambulance, maybe to be bombarded. So he's saying in the movie, if another photo is killed colleague, I resign. And actually, this is what he did after the murder of his two colleagues, Ahmed Madoun and Yusuf Zainu.
Oh, he did. Interesting. In the film, you make a great point that the Israeli military is infrared, and they could see into the car. They could see there was a live person, and they probably, because they have technology, intercepting and listening to the phone conversations. Any sense why the Israeli military did not go to save a 6-year-old girl in the car, and why they allowed her just to sit there?
Ask them.
So there's no answers for that. That's interesting because I thought it was such a great point you make in the film. The there are people who've said that it's it's painful film in a way to watch. I understand. How was it for you to make? How was it for the actors? Because there's so much emotion on the set conveyed from like Clara Corey, who we know through mutual friends, and the other cast member. I mean, there was so much emotion there that was you're dealing with something as an actor, but also real life. This situation, I imagine, is so painful for them.
Yeah, but before talking about the wonderful, amazing job of actor, maybe it's a painful movie to watch. I want to to tell there is not a drop of blood in the movie. There is no
Right.
graphic violence,
Mhm.
and it's always about sound, hearing, listening, bearing witness, and in general, people who are afraid to watch it, I tell them. Uh, Really hard, do something about it. So I was lucky enough to find those wonderful. I had in mind the real person, who lived this through this story, and it was hard because they were tasked with this paradoxal, thing, which is to be faithful word by word to what the real character said, but also to live it as if they were the real person, not knowing, being in the present tense. So actually, what we did is that they learned their lines as actors do, word by word, being faithful to the recording. And when we started shooting, they heard the voice of Hind Rajab for the first time.
Oh.
So their performance, it's not performance, I didn't directed them like in a regular movie. It was genuine. It was them reacting to the voice of this little girl. So sometimes it was emotionally very hard, but we were, all of us, and especially them, so proud to tell this story, and it needed to be told. And for Palestinian artists, especially actors, serving a story that tells their people struggle and their people stories, for them was something very important. So the fact that we were gathered around the voice of this little girl actually gave us a lot of courage. And then we are privileged people, we are artists, it's not our life.
Mhm.
So if we don't do it, who will do it?
Were you amazed at times, but when you listen to Little Hind Rajab, and I'm chatting with the director of the film, The Voice of Hind Rajab, how she was at times very calm and also very blunt. Like they're saying, "Oh, everyone's sleeping in the car." She's like, "No, they're dead." Like a 6-year-old girl to understand that was kind of remarkable. So it went from heartbreaking to like, wow, what a level of maturity and composure that was shot because it's the actual audio people are hearing of her. It's in Arabic, but it's translated on the screen. But were you amazed sometimes by what the little girl was saying? Were you
Yeah,
so?
she's incredible. I
Yeah.
mean, she have a very strong personality. She was, they were like crying, Rana is crying, and she was giving them solution. Come and get me. She's like ordering them and then telling them, call my uncle, call your husband, like, what are you doing? And for me, this little girl is like, she became mature in the fraction of hours because of the horror around her.
And sadly, she is killed. The paramedics go, they're killed. She's killed. That you show the actual footage, and it's remarkable in the film that it's the drama, the actual movie dramatized by the actors is all playing out. But in it, you have a few moments of real footage. One is with the cell phone, holding it up and seeing the actual real people and I think it's like Clara Corey with her hand down, the actress playing it. That was remarkable. How did you get that footage of the real people?
And actually, they shared with me the wrong day, and I asked for everything around that day, and they told me, one of our colleagues filmed us, and actually he started the phone after when they heard the explosion of their colleague on the phone. So this situation was when they were wondering what happened to their colleague. And I found it because when I heard the bombing of the ambulance, I told myself, this can't be real. It was real. And I needed to tell the audience, this is real. And I'll show you the footage of that day of their colleague wondering what happened to Yusuf Zaino and Ahmed Madhoun.
And they were the paramedics who were killed in this. And then you show the actual footage of the car itself and Hind Rajab's. We don't see her body, but we know she's been killed there by the Israeli military. She was one of thousands of children killed by the Israeli military. But this story, though, goes beyond, it gives life to it. It humanizes the story. Before we wrap up, what do you hope people take from the film?
You know, this movie, I did it not only to bear witness for people, but as a call for action, you know. Because the first time I called Hind Rajab mother to tell her I want to do a movie, what do you think? She told me I need justice for my daughter. And if this movie can help in a way, please do it. So I think that we are in a moment of history all around the world where we live in this world when you have the biggest gun, you rule the world. And this is not a beautiful place. So I did this movie with this, all the anger and all the sadness I have in my heart as a call for action. We can't live in this world. We can't let the chugging for life. And you mentioned it, all the children killed, but they weren't recorded, you know. So I did this movie also for them.
It's very, very powerful. And again, I wish you the best. I hope it gets an Oscar nomination. I know they got a Golden Globe nomination, and we'll do our best to encourage people to see this film. It's remarkable. And I wish you the best with your work. And hopefully we'll chat in the future about a future film that you do. But thank you for making this film. It's very powerful. It's a beautiful film and it had to
Thank
be
you,
made.
Steve.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you
great
very
day.
much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.